Welcome back to the Today's Soapbox podcast. I'm really excited to be back. I know we haven't had a regular podcast episode in a few weeks, so I'm excited to give you another audio version of an article. This article is called It Still Hasn't Ended With Us, and it was originally published April 27th, 2026. So without further ado, here is the article. From the press tour to the moment the film premiered, It Ends With Us has been controversial. The internet was quick to pick up on the fact that the cast was not being interviewed alongside their director and co-star, Justin Baldoni. They also noticed that the film was being promoted as a fun film to see with friends, rather than a serious exploration of cyclical domestic violence. In the months since the film's promotion and release, lawsuits have been filed and dismissed, involved parties have been deposed, and public opinion has wavered back and forth. Allegations of sexual harassment, smear campaigns, and hostile working environments has become a battle between the forces of Hollywood. Is this a malicious attack by an A-lister to take down a man and his work, or is this another story of systemic misogyny contributing to women feeling unsafe on set? Let's begin with the parties. Blake Lively. Blake Lively is an actress and entrepreneur. She and Ryan Reynolds are married and share 4 children. Lively played the lead role of Lily Bloom in the 2024 film It Ends With Us, and also worked as one of the film's producers. She comes from a family of performers. Her sister, Robin Lively, makes a cameo in the film. She is well connected to other celebrities like her husband, Reynolds, and is a close family friend of Taylor Swift. Justin Baldoni. Justin Baldoni is an actor and director. Baldoni directed the film and also played Ryle Kincaid, Lily's romantic partner who becomes abusive. His wife, Emily Baldoni, made a cameo as a doctor in the film. His past directorial pursuits, Clouds and 5 Feet Apart, are about terminally or chronically ill teenagers. He has made efforts to speak about feminism and redefining masculinity. He has written a memoir and given a TED Talk about the subject and is known for his presence in feminist spaces. Colleen Hoover. Colleen Hoover is the author of It Ends With Us, the book that the film is based on. She is credited as a writer and executive producer on the film. The book is based on experiences in her childhood and discusses domestic violence and breaking cycles of violence. Her other romance novels are known for intense themes and highly unique character names: Lowen, Ledger, Lakin, etc. She has been criticized in the past for the misalignment of her book marketing and the serious topics within them. Ryan Reynolds. Ryan Reynolds is an actor who is married to Lively. He is involved with the lawsuits as a potential witness to events and their impacts. According to Lively, he was involved with writing scenes from the film. Jamie Heath. Jamie Heath is the CEO of Wayfarer Studios, which was co-founded by Baldoni. Heath was another one of the film's producers and is a close personal friend of Baldoni. He was present on set when the events that led to accusations in the lawsuit occurred. He and Baldoni hosted the Man Enough podcast together with co-host Liz Plank. Jenny Slate. Actress Jenny Slate played Alyssa, sister to Baldoni's character Ryle, and friend to Lively's character Lily. In a deposition, text messages were revealed that reflected a negative work environment while filming. She spoke negatively about Baldoni, seeing him as a performative ally to women. Isabella Ferrer. Actress Isabella Ferrer played a younger version of Blake Lively's character Lily. She has been subpoenaed by both sides of the lawsuit and has herself accused Justin Baldoni of harassment. Taylor Swift. Singer-songwriter Taylor Swift is a personal friend of Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. The names of the couple's children have been featured in some of her songs. Text conversations between her and Lively have been revealed during the lawsuit. Lively has been accused of using her friendship with Swift as leverage to steal the film. Kirsty Flaw. Kirsty Flaw is a Norwegian entertainment reporter known for interviewing celebrities on press tours. She gained notoriety after releasing footage of an interview she conducted with Blake Lively and co-star Parker Posey, in which Lively seems to be hostile towards Flaw. She has previously released uncomfortable interview footage of Anne Hathaway and been criticized for her interview with Claudia Kim, which was perceived as racially insensitive. She now operates a YouTube channel that primarily covers the ongoing lawsuits between Lively and Baldoni. She is fiercely Team Baldoni. Melissa Nathan. Melissa Nathan is a crisis public relations strategist that launched the Agency Group, or TAG, who was hired by Justin Baldoni. TAG's clients include Johnny Depp, Logan Paul, and Drake. Recent leaks tie her to sensationalist websites accusing Amanda Ghost of sex trafficking as a part of their crisis strategy for Rebel Wilson. Jed Wallace. Jed Wallace works in PR as a crisis consultant alongside Melissa Nathan. He is also implicated in the leaked calls regarding Rebel Wilson and Amanda Ghost. He is primarily known for coordinating smear campaigns. Jennifer Abel. Jennifer Abel is the founder and CEO of RWA Communications, who was a publicist for Justin Baldoni. She left her prior group, JonesWorks, to go to her own PR group, taking Baldoni as a client with her, which led to legal issues with Stephanie Jones, founder and CEO of JonesWorks. Judge Louis J. Lyman. Louis Lyman is a federal judge for the Southern District of New York. He was nominated in 2019 by Donald Trump and is presiding over the case between Blake Lively and Wayfarer Studios. Now let's look at the timeline of events. So, on August 2nd, 2016, It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover is published. In April of 2019, Colleen Hoover and Justin Baldoni discuss making a film adaptation together. She also suggests he could act in the role of Ryle. On October 18th, 2022, It Starts With Us, the book's sequel, is published. On December 31st, 2022, Blake Lively accepts the role of Lily. In May of 2023, filming begins in New Jersey. From May 2nd, 2023 to November 9th, 2023, WGA and SAG-AFTRA conducted strikes simultaneously for pay raises and protections against AI. On January 4th, 2024, an all-hands meeting took place on set. On February 9th, 2024, filming concluded. On August 6th, 2024, the film was released to theaters. On December 24th, 2024, Justin Baldoni's Women's Solidarity Award from organization Vital Voices is rescinded, and the co-host of his podcast, The Man Enough Show with Jamie Heath, departs the show. On December 21st, 2024, Blake Lively's lawsuit was filed. On January 16th, 2025, Justin Baldoni's countersuit against Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds is filed. On June 9th, 2025, Justin Baldoni's countersuit is dismissed as it did not prove wrongful extortion. On April 3rd, 2026, 10 out of 13 claims in Lively's case were dismissed. The remaining claims are breach of contract, retaliation, and aiding and abetting in retaliation. May 18th, 2026, the trial for Lively v. Wayfarer is scheduled to begin. So now let's discuss what is being litigated. So the information I'm about to talk about does not include suits focused on the New York Times or Jed Wallace, but just know there are other lawsuits involved with this debacle. So let's start with Lively v. Wayfarer. That is Blake Lively suing Wayfarer Studios. So the charges are sexual harassment, retaliation, failure to investigate harassment, aiding and abetting harassment and retaliation, breach of contract, infliction of emotional distress, and invasion of privacy. Keep in mind, 10 of those claims were dismissed. Now it is only going to trial for breach of contract, retaliation, and aiding and abetting in retaliation. Blake Lively's initial lawsuit detailed an all-hands meeting that was held on January 4th, 2024, during the film's production to discuss concerns about on-set misconduct. A list of 30 points was brought to the meeting and agreed to by the parties involved, including Justin Baldoni and Jamie Heath, to be able to resume production on the film. Lively alleges that Baldoni improvised physical intimacy that was not in the script and agreed to beforehand. This included a sex scene with the younger, underage version of Lily, played by Isabella Ferrer, with her prior boyfriend Atlas. She claims that Baldoni told the actors that it was hot. Baldoni and Heath also encouraged Lively to be fully nude for the scene in which Lily gives birth. Lively felt forced into a compromise where she would be naked from the waist down, as Heath and Baldoni said it wasn't normal for someone to give birth in a hospital gown. The set was not closed that day, allowing cast and crew that were not involved with the scene to wander through. This is abnormal for filming a nude scene, as a performer is in a vulnerable position. Lively also alleges that on this day, Baldoni brought in his personal friend to play the OBGYN, not a local actor as is customary. Heath also approached Lively to show her a video of his fully nude wife giving birth, which made her uncomfortable. Baldoni and Heath were open about their personal, intimate lives with Lively, encouraging her to do the same. Lively found their descriptions of encounters to be disrespectful and inappropriate. She felt violated by other interactions they had when she was breastfeeding her newborn or discussing her appearance. The lawsuit alleged that Baldoni and his PR team manipulated the narrative about the film in an effort to cover up tension between himself and the cast due to his behavior. Wayfarer, Baldoni, Jennifer Abel, and Melissa Nathan allegedly came together to AstroTurf, which means they would post content and comments on social media that are disguised as being from the public. His PR team shifted Baldoni's press tour to be exclusively about domestic violence, presenting him as an ally and contrasting the more lighthearted and aesthetically driven promotion by Lively and others. This made it appear that the division between Baldoni and the other cast members was due to different press strategies rather than discomfort and hostility from on the film set. This campaign worked, and the PR team saw a shift in public opinion and a call to cancel Lively. She considers this to be retaliation for her complaints about Baldoni and Heath's on-set behavior and environment that could threaten Baldoni's reputation as a feminist and activist. Text messages and specific actions from the PR team are included in the lawsuit. Lively alleges that this PR campaign negatively affected herself, her family, and businesses. Next is Wayfarer versus Lively. This is Justin Baldoni's Wayfarer Studios countersuing Blake Lively. The charges named are civil extortion, defamation, invasion of privacy, breach of good faith, interference with contractual relations, and interference with prospective economic advantage. Keep in mind, this suit has been entirely dismissed. None of these claims are going to court next month. In Justin Baldoni's countersuit, he names Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, among others, as defendants. He blames Lively for the self-inflicted press catastrophe and says she sought to control It Ends With Us and its premiere from Baldoni and Wayfarer Studios. He claims that she used her complaint and an article in the New York Times to get revenge on the plaintiffs for the hit to her reputation. Baldoni claims that Lively used her power as a celebrity to ruin the plaintiffs because they would not give in to her demands. He alleges that she had a fundamental misunderstanding of the book, having not even read it. This was something the public was discussing as well, as Lively promoted her alcoholic beverages at the after-party despite the high number of domestic violence occurrences linked to alcohol. He also asserts that Lively was doing the public smearing and her allegations of sexual harassment and a smear campaign were false. Baldoni and author Colleen Hoover collaborated early on to have him adapt the book to a film due to the similar nature of his past projects and his reputation as a feminist and activist. From the beginning of the production process, Baldoni claimed that he had a good working relationship with Lively and Hoover. As the process continued, Lively allegedly got involved with aspects of production outside of her contract. This included making wardrobe decisions, writing scenes of the movie along with her husband, and altering the script. One of Lively's accusations of fat shaming stemmed from Baldoni asking a trainer about Lively's weight to know if he could lift her in a scene. He explained that he had back injuries and chronic pain, which led him to have this concern. Reynolds and Lively were offended by this line of questioning as she was freshly postpartum. The scene was removed from the film at their insistence. She allegedly threatened to leave the film, which Baldoni perceived as a threat to ruin his career and reputation as an advocate for women's rights. During filming, she seemed to Baldoni to be comfortable working with him, even after the harassment allegations. She allegedly breastfed and pumped in front of him routinely. They laughed together, and they knew details about each other. The lawsuit specifically mentions her use of the term ball buster and her references to herself as sexy, which could have violated her rules from the meeting for production that she had Baldoni agree to. During the WGA and SAG-AFTRA strikes, Lively did not return to production, and Wayfarer rescheduled shoots to film with younger versions of the characters and work around her absence. Lively continued to request early cuts of scenes and takes, which the lawsuit characterizes as inappropriate and unorthodox requests that are not usually shared with the cast. Producers and Baldoni took to strategizing together to figure out how they intended to deal with Lively out of concern that they might receive backlash from her or she would overreach further. Baldoni stated he felt uncomfortable working with her, as he felt he had to constantly meet her demands or risk jeopardizing a film he believed would make a strong positive impact. As the strikes ended, the meeting was held to agree on a list of items to prevent harassment and improve the working environment before Lively would return to set. The lawsuit breaks down the 17-point list of demands from Lively and how they were not based in reality. Examples of this include a demand for an intimacy coordinator on set at all times, despite a female intimacy coordinator having already been hired, and a demand to limit intimate scenes involving the younger version of Lily, who was portrayed by another actress, which Wayfarer felt overrode the actress's right to her own nudity rider contract. Baldoni altered the script and shooting plans to meet these demands out of a fear that Lively would leave the production. Lively brought Reynolds as her representative to the all-hands meeting rather than someone from her union, SAG. Allegedly, Reynolds was aggressive, and the meeting became a traumatic event for Baldoni. The grievances shared at the meeting, which the plaintiffs call an ambush, were the 30 discussed in Lively's lawsuit. Lively allegedly overreached in the editing process, leading to 2 separate cuts of the film, one by Lively and one by Baldoni as the director. Sony allowed her cut to continue, saying that she refused to promote the film otherwise. Baldoni and other editors were not allowed to see this cut. Lively's cut was released to the public and screened at Hoover's book convention without Baldoni present. Baldoni was effectively locked out of the final editing process. During the marketing process, credits were altered. Baldoni was removed from marketing materials such as posters, and Hoover, alongside many cast members, unfollowed him on social media. They alleged that this was manipulated by Lively, as other cast members had given Baldoni positive feedback on the production process. The public started to make assumptions about what had occurred based on the social media unfollowing, leading Baldoni to enlist Crisis PR. The plaintiffs assert that Lively's complaints of a smear campaign have been misconstrued. Their respective PR teams were in conflict with each other, and dozens of articles were written about the tension regarding the film. Baldoni was told he could not attend the premiere or the cast would boycott, but was ultimately given a separate screening for family and friends in a separate theater after being held in the basement during the red carpet. The lawsuit speculates that Lively took control of the film in order to have more power over a potential adaptation of the book's sequel, It Starts With Us, or to have as much star power as her husband and boost her businesses, and that she launched accusations of a smear campaign to cover up her own wrongdoing. Now let's talk about the sides. So starting with online chatter. With the high-profile nature of this conflict, the internet has exploded with conversation. It has quickly devolved into a battle with opposing sides. Given that both parties are alleging that some amount of media manipulation was involved to damage reputations, it is hard to tell what discussion is authentic and what is manufactured to impact public opinion. To explore the nature of the online chatter about the case, here are the top 5 subreddits on Reddit solely dedicated to the conflict, their overall affiliation and size, description provided by the mods, and some selected posts that are popular on the page and representative of the kinds of discussions taking place there. These were retrieved on April 20th, 2026. So let's start with r/itendwithlawsuits. This is a pro-Baldoni subreddit, and it has 188,000 weekly visitors. The description of the subreddit is, "For people that can't look away from the train wreck that is It Ends With Us." This sub is dedicated to discussing all things related to the Lively v. Baldoni case and everyone involved. The topic is polarizing and both sides are passionate, so be prepared for heated debates. The majority opinion leans pro-JB, but all opinions are welcome. Other large mainstream pop subs restrict pro-JB opinions, therefore we will foster an inclusive environment for those excluded from other communities. One post on the subreddit comes from user the_smart_girl. It reads, "At the premiere, Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds were sure that they had won and that IEW/IP would soon be theirs. Now they've lost it all, their career, their reputation, and their very standing in Hollywood." The text reads, "That's why I admire Justin Baldoni, because he fought back against 2 of Hollywood's most evil and twisted demons the industry has ever seen. Everyone thought Baldoni would be done by now, but instead he rose. Now everyone sees Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds for the cruel, bullying thieves they are. Everyone involved in trying to take him down has been exposed. So, thank you, Justin Baldoni, for standing up to one of Hollywood's most evil couples and exposing their true nature. Edit. Thanks for the awards. Smiley face. That post has 3,000 upvotes and 643 comments. Another top post from the subreddit is posted by that same user, and it reads, "Never forget how Justin Baldoni was humiliated on his big night, being forced to attend the premiere from the basement because of Blake Lively." The post reads, "What's been done to Justin Baldoni is so evil that I truly hope for the worst for everyone involved in helping Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds destroy him." That has 2.7 thousand upvotes and 243 comments. The next is r/Baldoni Files. It is reasonably pro-Lively and has 4.9 thousand weekly visitors. The description for the subreddit is a feminist pro-survivor space that documents and discusses allegations towards Justin Baldoni and his associates. This subreddit primarily centers around the It Ends With Us lawsuits. We firmly stand behind Blake Lively and other alleged victims. This first post is posted by user Ofidoki. It is called Baloney Gymnastics. It starts with, I'm going to have to describe a meme to you, so bear with me. It shows a gymnast on a mat. The first frame says, "Justin Baldoni is a creep who sexually harassed his employees." The gymnast walks forward. "Blake Lively complained." The gymnast ends the routine. "They retaliated." The second panel shows a gymnast flipping on the uneven bars. It says, "Blake Lively stole Justin Baldoni's movie," flip, "because they were having an affair and Ryan Reynolds got jealous," flip, "even though none of her demands are about creative control of the film," land, "so it's okay Justin Baldoni hired a PR firm to bury her," and then it shows the gymnast jetpack over a burning car. It says, "because I think she was rude to a Norwegian interviewer." This post has 270 upvotes and 41 comments and reads, "I posted this on Blue Sky and someone said to post here. Love y'all, LOL." The next post is from user asleep_reputation_85. It's called What's More Likely? And it shows a screenshot of a post by user Kelsey Combe. It says, "What's more likely? A woman decides for no reason to make up a bunch of lies about being sexually harassed and take it to court, fully knowing she will be the target of hate campaigns and will not be believed by many fellow women who will come for her and try to destroy her and refuse to believe her and ruin her career, or a man committed sexual harassment. Women know how much of a risk it is to report. We need to believe the ones who do it, or at least not accuse them." The text reads drastically. It has 235 upvotes and 31 comments. The third subreddit is called r/WithBlakeLively. It is pro-Lively and it has 2.9 thousand weekly visitors. The description reads, "This growing community is for those standing with Blake Lively in her ongoing lawsuit against Justin Baldoni and the Wayfarer Studio It Ends With Us lawsuit. Join us if you support Blake Lively in this litigation. We host both lighthearted and serious conversations, including easy-to-follow breakdowns of legal filings, media coverage of the case, and thoughtful discussions about workplace safety, feminism, and women in the film industry, along with fun Blake Lively-themed posts." Here are two posts from there. So this one is from user Jumpy-Contest7860, titled, "Justin Baldoni allegedly told Blake Lively, 'Did I always ask for consent? No. Did I always listen when they said no? No.' Lively's driver testified." It shows screenshots from the lawsuit with sections highlighted. Here is the text beneath the post. "There has been a lot of discussion about these car ride incidents. In her complaint, Blake Lively described a disturbing incident that occurred during an early car ride to the production office. According to the complaint, Baldoni told Blake that he had been sexually abused by a former girlfriend and that the experience caused him to re-examine his past behavior. He stated, quote, 'Did I always ask for consent? No. Did I always listen when they said no? No.' End quote. Baldoni characterized this as an example of personal growth and learning. Blake was alarmed by Baldoni's statements, as they suggested that he had engaged in sexual conduct without consent, an admission that could amount to at least sexual assault. In his deposition testimony, Kevin Alexander, the driver hired to escort Blake to production, recounted what Baldoni said during the car ride. Kevin testified that there were 4 people in the car: Blake, Baldoni, Sophia, and himself. They were driving from Blake's Tribeca home to the production office in New Jersey, a trip that lasted approximately 20 to 25 minutes. He testified that during the drive, Baldoni spoke to Blake about his sexual relationships with women, stating that women had forced themselves on him and that he had done the same to them, acknowledging that he did not always obtain consent. Kevin found this deeply disturbing, stating, quote, "Who talks like that on your first car ride meeting somebody? It was very out of the ordinary, and that's why I can't forget it." End quote. When they arrived at the office, Kevin took Blake aside and told her that he felt uncomfortable and that she never should be alone with Mr. Baldoni. He testified that he even considered conducting a background check on Baldoni, but later learned that Baldoni was a producer on the production. This is another example of Baldoni's inappropriate behavior. He appeared to give no consideration to how uncomfortable or traumatic such statements could be for someone hearing them. There has been extensive online discussion about these incidents, yet the most important issue is often lost in the noise. Baldoni openly admitted to engaging in sexual conduct without consent. Saying a harmful act out loud does not make it okay. Not only is his understanding of consent deeply flawed, but he seems to have a casual attitude about sexual conduct without consent. What do you think about this exhibit, and more importantly, why do you think there is no media coverage of this? That concludes the text of the post. It has 139 upvotes and 108 comments. The second post I'm showing from this subreddit is from the same user. It's titled, Blake Lively, quote, "I had to keep working with these people, and I had to do sex scenes with these people, and I had to do a rape scene with this person, and I had no one to go to." End quote. The text of the post reads, "This one broke my heart. This is a part of Blake's deposition. She said she wasn't told about a COVID outbreak and was later told it was because production didn't have COVID insurance and didn't want her to test. After returning from COVID, she requested an in-person meeting on June 1st, 2023 with key producers. I think she and baby had to even be in hospital for the COVID. Instead of her concerns being addressed, Baldoni told her that Jamie Heath showing her a nude video of his wife was okay and that it was his, Baldoni's, fault because he thought she wanted to see it. This deeply upset her because, after being dismissed by Angie, she was trying to figure out the safest and most appropriate way to raise her concerns. Before she even had the chance to do so, the person responsible for protecting her had already decided her concerns didn't matter. She says HR failed her, there was no clear accountability, no assurance it wouldn't happen again, no safe reporting path, and no support offered. Despite this, she still had to keep working closely with the same people, including filming sex scenes and even a rape scene with no one to turn to. This is truly heartbreaking, and I hope she gets justice." That's the end of the text. It shows screenshots of the deposition transcript, and it has 125 upvotes and 54 comments. The fourth subreddit I want to look at is r/Team Justin Baldoni. It is a pro-Baldoni subreddit, and it has 45,000 people that are Team Justin Baldoni. The description reads, "A fact-based community dedicated to discussion of Justin Baldoni, Wayfarer Studios, It Ends With Us, related legal developments, court filings, motions, rulings, timelines, evidence, transcripts, media coverage, PR narratives, influencer commentary, public accountability, and evolving online discourse. Members share sourced updates, documents, summaries, and analysis to provide transparency, context, and an accurate public record of ongoing events involving Justin Baldoni and associated parties." The first post I selected is from user MapleCherie12. It's titled, "Taylor spent a decade moaning over Scooter stealing her masters, which Scooter purchased through legal means, but gleefully schemed with Blake to steal Justin's movie." It has looks like a Facebook video that it posted about how Taylor Swift is involved with the lawsuit, and it accuses Taylor Swift of misconstruing the situation with Scooter Braun buying her masters. This has 2,000 upvotes and 178 comments. The second post is from user JuiceEBoxXHero0. So, Juicebox Hero with extra letters. It is titled, "I Know Justin." The post reads, "I've been pretty quiet because I never knew how to address this, but I know Justin Baldoni personally. I met him when he moved into my neighborhood, and he came over to introduce himself. No, I'm not saying what city, and then again at a few house parties after, along with his kids and wife. I've gotten to know his heart, his personality, and the hearts of his family. I am a person that hates to discredit when someone speaks out as a victim of violence, as I too have been discredited before, and the feeling is more than heartbreaking. But I can tell you without a doubt, Blake is lying. Anytime the subject gets brought up, Justin, a normally happy and kind person, goes incredibly quiet, his shoulders slump over, he stares at the ground, and sadness overwhelms the room. It's awful to watch. He runs around with all the kids laughing and playing. He loves prayer and spirituality. He helps with neighborhood projects and invites others over to his home and into his hobbies. He's truly selfless, and although I refuse to prove anything with photos, I hope people see this and take my word. He's a human, a father, a husband, and a better friend than most people could ever know. This post has 2,000 upvotes and 316 comments. The final subreddit I'm going to bring up is r/Lively Wayfarer Daily. It is a neutral sub, and it has 1.3 thousand weekly visitors. The description is, this is a slant-free space for following the Blake Lively versus Wayfarer Studio lawsuit or Blake Lively versus Justin Baldoni case. We post daily articles and filings. Also, feel free to post exhibits you would like to discuss here. Please avoid using pro-party titles of personal commentary in the posts. Feel free to include your opinion in the comments. Name-calling and insults towards members, the parties, or the court won't be tolerated. I selected the top posts from this subreddit, and they are November 28th, 2025. Multiple outlets report that Taylor Swift and Hugh Jackman were present during Ryan Reynolds' alleged confrontation with Justin Baldoni. It includes links to a variety of sources that reported on this. It has 274 upvotes and 178 comments. It is posted by user advanced_property749. The other post is from Preparation Plenty 943, and it's the headlines from January 26, 2026. It has 366 upvotes and 236 comments. It shows screenshots of the articles. There is, I'll read a couple of them. One is from Daily Mail. It's called "The Nastiest Clique in Hollywood Have Had Their Dirty Secret Outed. There's no coming back from this. Maureen Callahan." It also has a screenshot from Blast called "Justin Baldoni's Parents Highlight Injustice in Emotional Birthday Tributes." So there's just a variety of headlines posted on this subreddit, and then it's just an everyday recap of what has happened. So now I want to discuss the ethics of choosing a side for this issue. So many critics of this controversy have brought up the role that misogyny has played in the backlash against Blake Lively. On his YouTube channel, Matt Bernstein spoke with journalist Kat Tenbarge for an episode of his podcast. They discussed the role that misogyny has in smear campaigns, particularly in the cases of Lively and Amber Heard. Heard's former partner, Johnny Depp, sued her for defamation after she wrote an op-ed about sexual violence, leading to a massive influx of online hate directed at her that some evidence suggests could have been a coordinated smear campaign. In a case that is now about retaliation for reports of harassment, it is hard to choose sides. To exclusively believe Baldoni means that the cast and author of It Ends With Us sided with a powerful A-lister to ruin a man's life over control of a film she was already heavily involved in. To exclusively believe Blake Lively means that a man with a platform based on advocacy and feminism harassed a woman on set for a film he was directing and retaliated against her for reporting it. An online climate in which conflicts are won by public opinion rather than proof and evidence means that people's opinions will be driven by initial bias. Lively was already out of favor when she filed her lawsuit against Baldoni. The public was primed to not believe her. When cast members unfollowed Baldoni, they assumed he was in the wrong with no evidence. These situations harmed the reputations of those involved, and they have both pointed to the other as responsible. Claims of harassment, like in this case, or of violence of any kind should be taken seriously rather than disbelieved because of the person's public image. Picking sides trivializes these kinds of cases. I did my best to be unbiased in that reporting, but I did include a section of my opinion. So everything from here on out is my opinion, based on my readings of the lawsuits and my consumption of the media around it. So I like a messy press run, but only if there are no victims. I think of films like Don't Worry, Darling that were full of controversy, but it felt low stakes. On the other hand, I'm tired of hearing about celebrity lawsuits. The public discusses them as if they're trivial drama, but they have real-life implications that extend past the plaintiffs and defendants, impacting their families and friends and future lawsuits. When public opinion gets involved, the final verdict doesn't matter. People's decisions have been made, and the impact is already happening. I had a hard time understanding some of the allegations made on both sides, so I'm going to go over some of them in some more detail. So one allegation is that Justin Baldoni's character, Ryle, was removed from the posters in order to center Blake Lively. Now, I don't believe that would be a wrong thing to do. Lily is the protagonist of the film. Giving Lily and her abuser equal standing on the poster sends a horrible message. Some people criticize the more floral marketing materials inspired by the floral shop that Lively's character opens for not sending the message that this film is about domestic violence, but I believe that putting a picture of both Ryle and Lily front and center together is no better. Now, you may notice that for the promotion of this article, I put Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni equal standing. That is because this article is about the lawsuits and not about domestic abuse. The lawsuit will be decided in a court of law. Domestic abuse is a different issue, and I do not think abusers should be centered in that narrative. So, with Baldoni taking the role of Ryle, he is in a strange spot. He's directing himself and another actor through violent, intimate scenes in which he is the aggressor. Marketing the film around his involvement feels just as tone-deaf as marketing it around the flower shop. The parties are imbalanced in nuanced ways. Although Blake Lively has powerful alliances in Hollywood and her own fame surpasses Baldoni's, he was essentially her boss as the director. She was also very vulnerable due to the dynamics of their characters. She was going to be filming scenes of domestic and sexual violence with her boss. Just because Baldoni identifies as a feminist does not mean he cannot perpetrate harassment and public misogyny. His role as director also enabled him to surround himself with personal friends and connections on set. It seems that Lively involved her husband and friend Taylor Swift as she was communicating with them about her feelings and experiences, as well as having them around during some confrontations. I'll admit that sounds intimidating for Baldoni. Lively, Reynolds, and Swift hold a lot more industry power than he and Jamie Heath do. As Baldoni was director, there was also an incentive for other cast members, like newcomer Isabella Ferrer, to placate him and be quiet about experiences they may have had. Lively had some social power over him, but he had social power over the lesser-known actors. His lawsuit fails to acknowledge that, instead shifting blame to Lively for manipulating other accusers or involved parties. I struggle with some of the interactions that Baldoni's team characterizes as innocent. I think it is important to destigmatize breastfeeding and birth, and I also support accountability and growth from our past. However, this does not mean that women, or really anyone, need to be comfortable with breastfeeding in front of someone at any time, being shown pictures or videos of birth, or hearing about someone's past addiction to pornography. Lively's prior consent to pump or breastfeed in front of Baldoni or Heath does not mean that she has issued a blank check to watch her do so at any point in the future. She's allowed to be private if she wants to, without giving a justification. Lively did not need to see videos of Heath's wife giving birth. She has herself given birth 4 times and was recently postpartum. She has a level of expertise in the subject due to personal experience that Heath and Baldoni do not have. She also did not need to be shown the video without a prior understanding of what she was being shown and why. While Baldoni and Heath are open about their feminist journeys and paths to overcome pornography addictions, that does not mean Lively wanted to hear about it. If she wanted to know details, she could have listened to their podcast. She can withdraw consent to hear about sexual encounters or past at any time. Is some of what Lively has said and done petty and cringeworthy? Absolutely. Does this make her deserving of this harassment? No. If any other cast members, particularly Isabella Ferrer or Jenny Slate, testify in the trial, it could shed light on a hostile work environment that did not adequately respond to harassment allegations. I mean, I believe Blake Lively about the harassment and retaliation she and others faced in the process of making the film. I also believe Justin Baldoni about having control of the film and its marketing taken away from him. I think it is reasonable for Baldoni to be upset about breaches of contract. However, that does not excuse harassment and should not change the way the public feels about workplace harassment. We'll see what the judge and jury decide, but for now, let's leave it to them. So, I also included a link to my full list of resources that I used to research this article. I hope you enjoyed this. I tried to be unbiased, but when it comes down to it, it is really hard for me to be more mad about breach of contract than it is for me to be mad about someone having unwanted sexual or sexually charged encounters with their boss. I feel like those are different things and they should probably be viewed differently. I don't think they're on equal footing. My prediction, I don't really know. I was shocked when the judge dismissed a number of claims in Lively's suit. But I think it was reasonable to fully dismiss Baldoni's countersuit. I don't think that held a lot of water. I read both lawsuits in full. For reference, Lively's is like 90 something pages, and Justin Baldoni's is like nearly 180. So one is almost like twice as long as the other. So there's a lot to go through, and it is a lot to read, and there are tons of screenshots. But at the end of the day, I think it is important to remember that people should feel comfortable reporting harassment in the workplace, especially in vulnerable situations like filming a birth scene or a sex scene. So just make sure that you are respecting other people's saying no and asking for consent before crossing boundaries. Yeah. I hope to see you next time. I don't know when the next podcast episode will be or what it will be about, but if you have any other lawsuits you would like me to look into, it's a passion of mine, so I'd be happy to do it. Please let me know. You can email me, you can comment, you can go on the website and put it in the request box. I would love to hear what you have to say. If you have other situations of misogyny you want me to talk about, I also I enjoy rage baiting myself by reading about misogyny. So I'm super interested in what you guys think about this. It's a really complicated situation, and I chickened out for 16 months in writing about it. But I finally got around to it, and I sat down, and it took me a lot of hours. So I'm proud of myself, and you should be proud of me too. All right, see you next time. Bye.